In this video, we're going to talk to you about installing plugins and activating them in the multi-site feature of our WordPress network. Now, we've touched on this in great detail actually in a prior video, but that was on a single site basis. Now, there's a lot of it is basically the same insofar as installing the plugins. You can do that from within the dashboard just by under the plugins panel, go to the add new sub panel, and you can do so from within WordPress, or you can also unzip the plugins that you've downloaded to your computer and upload them via FTP or your cPanel control panel. And again, that part has not changed, but as far as the network part and some of the additional features, well, here, let me just show you what I'm talking about. Let's head on over here to plugins. Now, I've installed a few plugins just to demonstrate what we're going to be doing here, but one thing I wanted to point out here was right up here at the top. This is saying that the plugins pages is not visible to normal users, and to make it so, you have to activate it. Now, I touched on this briefly and may have just kind of went through it pretty quick and you didn't notice it, but in the video we had on the super admin under options, the very bottom of the page here, I had ticked this box to enable administration menus. That would eliminate that red box and allow the plugins pages to show up on other sites. So if that's something you're wanting to pass on to your other networked sites, then cool. And of course, if you're the only administrator of all of these other sites, then I would say go ahead and do that. That's something that you need to decide on your own. But I'm going to go ahead and check this anyway. Click on Save Changes. Come on back to plugins, and we will see that that red box is gone. So that's what that was for. So that's out of the way. You can also see that there's a couple of differences here with the plugins that are already installed, but none of these are activated yet. You can activate them site-wide or network-wide. And you can see up here at the top, these are pretty much the same items that were available on the single site version of our WordPress site before we install the multi-site feature. But if we go ahead and let's click on this guy and Akismet, and we're going to do bulk applications. So we want to activate, let's go ahead and network activate these, and we just click on apply to do so. Now, before I do this, I want to tell you that similar to themes, some of the functions will not carry forward with all of the sites on your network. For example, with the Akismet, if you are familiar with this plugin, it basically eats up the spam, but it is required to be configured first before it will work. So it's not just a type of plugin that you activate it and it goes to work right away. Those types of plugins that simply require you to activate and they're ready to roll, those will work across the entire network of sites with no additional configuration. However, there are lots of plugins out there, Akismet, All-in-One SEO Pack, to name a couple, that are not the case. They'll have to be individually configured on a site-by-site basis. Well, here, let me just show you what I'm talking about. Let's go ahead and click on Apply. And you see this is for the All-in-One SEO Pack, and the Akismet is almost ready, but you got to throw in your API key. Now, let's go ahead and do this real quick just to get rid of these guys here. Now, you can see that by configuring these guys, which is pretty much just putting in the API key here for the Akismet, and with the All-in-One SEO Pack, come on down here to Settings, and clicking on Enable, and there's much more to this than just that, but that gets rid of that red bar that pops up on the top of the plugins page. But if we head over to sites, right now we're on the dog training site. If you go to sites and go to the cat training site, and let's check out the back end here, you'll see that that did not take place here. So again, it's a site-by-site basis, and not so much of a big deal if you've only got a few sites like I'm demonstrating here, but if you've got a bazillion sites and you're continually adding more niche-specific sites for AdSense or whatever purpose you're adding sites to your network for, this can be cumbersome. There is, however, a plugin that will eliminate a lot of this manual labor for you, and it's a godsend. I got to tell you though, there's a bit of a learning curve involved, but you always have the fallback to do it manually if you find that that's more up your alley. And of course, there's also, in this case, some fantastic support system that doesn't cost you anything. So let's go ahead and check this out real quick. It's called YD Network Wide Options. Come on down here to our plugins. And we're going to, now we're in cat training. Tell you what, let's head on back to our dog training, just so we're taking care of everything under one roof, or under the same roof anyway. Come back here to add new, and in here I believe, I think that is it. Let's search plugins and find out. Yep, that's the ticket. Go ahead and install now. Now here you've got options similar to the ones we'd already seen, where you can activate it site-wide or activate it network-wide. You can just go ahead and do, in this case, I'm just going to do it activate site-wide. And we come on down here under settings, click on this guy for the settings, and it can be a little intimidating if you have no clue what any of this stuff means, but this will allow you to carry forward your settings on this particular site. You can consider this site as your template, and anytime that you make adjustments or changes to these items that you have checked in these boxes here on your template site or your main site that this is installed on, then depending upon what options you have set here, those changes will be carried forward not just in the existing sites, but also in new sites that are created from that point on. So again, this is a fantastic plugin. I wish they had something like this for themes, but I think that animal doesn't exist just yet. Oh, and as far as support, just click on this link right here. It takes you to the creators page, and if we scroll down here a little bit, the discussion starts back in April of last year. At the time of the recording of this video anyway, it was last year. And down, all the new discussions start at the bottom. So for a more recent discussion, then you want to come on down here closer to the bottom. And of course, you put in your question. If you've got a comment or a suggestion or a question, come on down here to the bottom and post it here. Now then, if you've got some concerns with the fact that maybe in your reading on your browser this is in French, well, use the Google toolbar and hit the translation button, and it'll take it from French to, whatever your language is. But that's a quick rundown on this particular plugin, and by all means, if you find it useful, throw them a bone, show your love, give them a donation. It will definitely come in handy to keep this thing active. Now then, one more thing I want to show you under plugins before we call it a day on this video. Up here at the top, you can see now that we've got another option available, and that's network. And let's go ahead and click on the upgrades available. You can see here that this shows you the number of plugins that are network-wide, that are totally inactive, and in this case, the upgrades that are available. However, to take care of this, what I would rather do is under the dashboard, click on Updates, select all, update plugins, and these are now totally updated. And if we click on update here for the super admin, click on update network, all the sites within our network have just been updated with whatever plugins that were available network wide. So that's another major benefit behind the multi-site feature of WordPress 3.0. And that's going to bring us to the end of this video on plugins. Thank you very much for watching, and you have a great day.